Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are live from Anaheim, California. We're recording this event today, so everybody turn and wave to the camera and say good morning from Anaheim. Come on, you guys. This is national. They're going to have people from all over the country and the world watching this video. Is that how you want them to see you from Anaheim, California, like that? Give it another go. Here we go. Good morning. All right. There we go. Awesome. So today is the June 14th, Tuesday, 2016. And as we said, we're live in Anaheim, California. We have the lovely Amber with the Director of Education that puts everything together at this beautiful location. So give Amber a big round of applause. She's expecting, so she's going to have a newborn baby here soon on July 19th. Is that right? So how exciting. That's exciting. My daughter just graduated from high school, or is going to, and here you are having a brand new baby. So it seems like just yesterday that time is flying. So I'm real excited for you guys because, in my opinion, there's never been a better time to get into commercial real estate or to add commercial real estate to your portfolio of services. I say that for a couple of reasons. One is because you have large residential firms launching commercial divisions. If you look across the nation, you'll see that pretty much everybody is in the process of or already has launched large commercial divisions, or they're wanting to do that. And so you have to ask yourself why that is. In fact, why do you think that is? Yeah, market for it. And so at the end of the day, the firms are looking at ways to make more money, right? It all comes down to that. Everything we say is really going to boil down to the opportunity to earn more income. And so perhaps maybe that's why you guys are here today, is because you're realizing there's some opportunities to make some extra income for yourselves, and that there's an opportunity out there that you want to capitalize on. So that's one thing that's happening. Another thing is that you have interest rates lower than cap rates still in most of the markets. And I can't believe I'm still standing here and I can keep saying this. I just don't think I'm going to be able to keep saying this much longer. If you think about it for a minute, you have interest rates lower than cap rates, and cap rates are what we call compressing. And when cap rates are compressing, what's happening to prices? Prices are going up. So prices are going up, cap rates are going down, and we call that cap rate compression. And so cap rates are compressing downward. Interest rates, if we had to guess 5 years from now, do you think they would be up or down? Probably up. They're trending upward. So you see what's happening is you have interest rates trending upward. Right now interest rates are here, cap rates are here. Interest rates lower than cap rates. But you have interest rates trending upward, cap rates trending downward. And so you can see why I'm saying that I probably won't be able to keep saying this much longer. Interest rates are lower than cap rates, but you can see how that market is going to shift and change. And pretty soon interest rates will be up above cap rates, and you won't have as much buying power. It won't be as powerful, and that's why I'm saying that to you. So there really is this big opportunity that's out there right now that's not going to be this way forever. And because that market's going to close, and we'll probably never see it again in our lifetime. So what happens if you come to a class like this and you get real excited and you say, okay, I'm going to implement some of these strategies that I learned today, and then you take the book and you go put it in a drawer or on a shelf and you never do anything with it? What happens to your opportunity? It's gone. It's gone forever. Yeah, so one of the things I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, is encourage you to keep moving forward with your education so you can take advantage of these opportunities that are out there. Does that sound okay to you guys? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Now, just a little housekeeping real quick, especially because we're recording. The phones are a major challenge for us these days. So just take a look at your phones real quick, if you would, and make sure it's on some sort of quiet mode and adjust it so that we don't have all these different ringtones and bells and whistles going off throughout the class. If you have to take a call, please just grab your, it's okay if I understand we have things that come up. Just take the call outside. Don't sit in the audience and talk on the phone. I've seen that before several times. So just get up and go outside if you need to, and be courteous with each other throughout the class. What we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of breaks. We'll take a break in the morning and then another break in the afternoon, and each break will be 15 minutes long. Is it all right with you guys if maybe you can't come back because you're on the call or something, but maybe you have questions on what I was talking about during when you were on the call. Would it be okay if I just said, if you're asking questions, if I just said, hey, come see me during the next break? Would that be okay? Okay, good. That way I can keep you caught. I can keep the class moving and moving along. And then we'll have a lunch, and depending on what's happening for lunch, we'll figure out how long that lunch is. But I always like to start right back up on time from the break, so try to come right back on time if you can. This is a BRE approved course, and we are going to offer 7 BRE credits for you that you can use toward the renewal of your license. When you renew your license, you have to have a certain amount of credits to do that, and these credits will apply. If you don't care about the credits at all, you can leave at the end of the day when we go take the test, and you can kind of come and go as you want to. If you do want the credits, you have to be here the whole time, and then I have to give you a test at the end of the day. The test will be easy. It won't be really complicated. I'll prepare you for it throughout the day. In fact, if I say to you, this is something that you might want to remember, what do you think that might mean? Yeah, it might be on the test. I can't say it is on the test, but it might be on the test. So I'll say, hey, oh, this is something you might want to remember, and then you just want to highlight it or make a note of where it is in your book, because the test is open book. So the test will be easy for you to pass at the end of the day. This morning I'm going to talk about formulas and calculations, a little bit of math. If you have a calculator that you can get your hands on at the first break, it'll help you. The phones have a tendency to die towards the end of the day, so the calculators, if you can get one, will help you. If you can't get a calculator or don't want to buy one here at the board, then it's not going to be the end of the world. So we'll talk about forms and calculations throughout the day, and then I'm going to progress and get more and more advanced into the class as we get further along. What I'm going to do is pretty much anybody can teach you about cap rates and return on investments and things like that. But really where my success has come from is helping people achieve their goals faster through real estate investment planning strategies. And so I'm going to share with you a lot of language that I use to do that, to help people achieve their goals faster, and to demonstrate my experience and some of the strategies I've used to help me succeed at a really high level. And so that's really what we're going to do throughout the day, but mostly at the end of the day. Thanks again, Amber, appreciate it. At the end of the day, so if you have to leave, what I've done is I've got really some of the best part is at the very last part of the day, like the last hour and a half or so. So if you have to leave early for any reason, you really are going to miss pretty much the best part of the class. The reason I do that is I save the best for last, really, so that you won't leave. No, I'm kidding. It's because I have to cover the basic stuff before we get into the more advanced. It's really the only way to do that. But if you have to leave for some reason, you will miss the best part, really, in my opinion. So that's kind of our agenda for today. Any questions on how that's going to go or what we're doing today? All right, great. So we have some folks here that I recognize. We have a coaching member, RG, and she brought her partner, DJ, right? That's right. RG and DJ. And Sudesh, right? Yeah. And Lupta? Lepta that just signed up for coaching. That was here, wasn't it? Yeah, both of you guys were here. So welcome back. Good to see you guys. So you're going through as a refresher, and I think I was at a 2-hour class when we met before, right?
I missed the one day, and I mentioned on our coaching that where do I get started? And you just said you missed my one-day class. I think yes, I did, but I was out of town.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Good.
Yeah. So it's good to to go through that again. And then, has anybody else been through any of our training events? Any of my training events here in this room at all? Everyone else first time? Is Tom here yet? Tom's not here? Okay, so is that Tony Perez I see back there? Hey, Tony, good to see you. I thought that was you. I wasn't sure. It's been forever. How have you been? I'll come see you during the breaks and get caught up. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Anybody else? Last time I was here, Martin Gonzalez was here. He sat right here, and I recognized him. Actually, he went to a one-day first, but I recognized him. I said, where do I know you from? And I really heard his voice. I caught his voice more than anything. And Martin sold pretty much all of my listings in the early 90s. When I was a huge listing agent, I carried over 30 listings at a time. And I would just call Martin and say, hey, Martin, I just got a new listing. Who do you have? And And he would say, okay, Michael, he had that really high-pitched voice. Okay, Michael, I can sell that for you. And he'd go bring 5 buyers, FHA, and he'd close these things. And it was just, we did so many deals together. So it was really great to see him because it just brought back all those memories of how we did so many deals together. It's nice to work with somebody like that, isn't it? On the other end of your deal, when you know you can just call and the deal's going to be smooth and it's going to close. So sometimes I see people that I recognize when I'm local like this. So. All right, so let's just jump in. So you have in your book there, you have some lenders that do commercial real estate, and you also have some vendors that I know that I've worked with that are really good, like the Elite Group. Those guys do commercial and residential sales. And by the way, for the camera, here in Anaheim, California, if you have any referrals in the Southern California area, be sure to contact me because I have lots of great agents. I don't really do a whole lot of sales anymore, but I refer them all out to great agents like these folks in the room. You guys love referrals, right? Yep. And Anaheim's a beautiful place. We have Disneyland right up the street. What else is here in Anaheim? They have Angel Stadiums right over there. It's a beautiful area, so come visit and send lots of referrals. The Grove, that's right, the Grove's here as well. The thing that I like about the lenders is that they can legally pay you referral fees because they're not governed by RESPA. Okay, so would it be okay if at the close of escrow, if you received let's say you closed a $22 million loan, would it be okay if you had a $20,000 rebate at the close of escrow? Would that be okay with you guys? Sure. Okay, just checking. Just checking. But if you don't ask, you don't get in a lot of cases. So just remember that you need to ask. Who needs to sign in on the iPad? Everybody got it?
Where did you sign? Oh, did you sign mine too?
No, he's not going to sign yours. Go ahead and sign unless you need help. So remember that 1 to 4 is residential, 5 and up is commercial. So you can get referral fees once you go to commercial. Yeah, and the commercial 5 and up. And the other thing about this is that you have different kinds of banks that have different types of loans that they do. So you have your banks like your U.S. banks or Union banks, Bank of America. Usually those banks, they like Class A paper, clean, newer products. They don't like properties that need a lot of work usually. They really like apartments usually. It's usually their thing. You have Kathleen that's in your book. Kathleen Kramer does a lot. She's really good, by the way. She likes apartments. That's really her thing. She's really good at apartments, but she can kind of steer you in the right direction for anybody that you need. Okay, so just keep that in mind. There's a couple of contacts in there for you. You have investor loans, and you have owner-occupied loans. Anybody else need the iPad? Everybody else on here?
You signed
Good.
in on the paper, is that?
No, that's different. That's the boards. And you have investor loans, and you have owner-occupied loans. So an investor loan, if you think about it, is like a house. An investor loan is somebody who's going to put down, probably 30% or more in this marketplace. I'll talk to you about why they need to put down so much later today when we start getting into lender requirements. But they're going to need to put down a large amount of money in order to get the cash flow. In that case, the lender's going to look at the asset mostly and not so much the buyer to qualify. Then you have the owner-occupied person who's going to run a business there. Maybe they're buying it for a restaurant. And so they're going to run their restaurant and buy it and operate their restaurant. Now they can get in with a lower down payment, just like a residential buyer, a home buyer, and they can get in 10%, 15% down, and possibly even 5%, but it's going to be really difficult, a little more difficult. And then they're going to look more at the buyer's credit and the buyer's income and the business income and things like that. So that income that qualification is going to be more toward the buyer and less toward the asset in that case. So just keep that in mind. Whenever somebody says, hey, I'm looking to purchase, you want to first identify what they're doing. Is this an investor? who's going to not live there or not run it, not have any type of business there, or is this more like an owner-occupied situation? All right, so basically all my contact information is in here. It's in your book. What happened was I started real estate in 1988, and we sold over 100 homes for several years. And then I took a class. I took a commercial class, and the class was a very intense class. And at the end of the class, I went over to their office. It was actually a RE/MAX office, Tony's office, as a matter of fact, one of theirs, and started helping them build a commercial division while I was doing my residential sales. And then I decided that I wanted to open up a Keller Williams franchise. In July of 2002, I was introduced to Keller Williams, and in October 2002, we opened up the Long Beach Market Center. And then I helped open up a couple other offices in the area. We grew, several hundred agents. And then recently, about 4 years ago, I decided that I wanted to pursue this. My passion here was the speaking, training, coaching. So I started bringing in other people to replace me in regards to any kind of operational managerial responsibilities with those franchises. So I brought people in like broker of record and things like that. So it's freed me up now, and I don't have to do any of the hands-on managerial stuff. It's freed me up to do what I'm really just loving, which is the coaching, training, and speaking across the country. So that's kind of my background. That's my history. When I decided to do this, I started looking for coaches, and my coach helped me come up with this name, the National Commercial Real Estate Association. The National Commercial Real Estate Association is where the name came from, because I have education. I've always believed in education and training forever, ever since I really got into real estate. And so I have university-style training with real-world strategies. And so that's where the National Commercial Real Estate Association came from, because everything we do is credits, BRE credits, designations, things like that. And so that's what the NCREA is the National Commercial Real Estate Association. That's how that came about. So our website is www.thencrea.com. Our Facebook page, our email address is info@thencrea.com. Our Facebook page, YouTube page, everything is based off of that name. So that's how that all came about. Now, a couple things jump out at me when I look back at that history. One, if you take nothing away from this class, in my opinion, you want to take away one thing that's real important, and that is that you should time block. Time block. You want to time block your way to success. See, what happened is when I was first introduced to commercial investment real estate, we just came off a year, like I said, where our team was doing over 100 transactions in residential. So that residential business was really busy. And so what I decided to do was carve out 2 hours, 2 hours a day, 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour later in the day for my commercial investment business. So think about that for a minute. Residential business, real exciting, real busy, lots of offers, lots of listings, lots of fun. I left it alone for an hour, twice a day. Put the phone down, leave the phone alone for an hour. How hard is that, right? That's hard to do in today's world especially. Then I came over here, put on my commercial investment hat, and started carving out and started going after commercial investment business at that time. And that's how I grew my business, was through time blocking. Because what would have happened had I not been disciplined like that? What would have happened to the commercial investment business? It would have never gone anywhere. Exactly. See, that's where people fail. That right there is where most people fail. They come to a class like this. We're doing now probably 4 of these a week on average, of 25 or so. So it's about 100 agents a week that are coming through these classes, 400 a month. And I think you come and you get real excited and you say, okay, that's it. I want to implement some of these strategies. And then you get real excited, but then you jump in your car and something happens. And it's called life, right? We get our texts, our emails, our phone calls, everything just sweeps you right back into what you were doing before, and you never get around to implementing any of it, right? Does that sound familiar to you? Yep. Yeah, we've all done this, whether it's this class or another seminar or whatever it is. So you see what I'm saying? You've got to start thinking, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that doesn't happen? Because this window of opportunity is out there. It's not going to be there forever for you guys. It's not. So you need to go find ways to take action at the end of this class usually it's time blocking somewhere in your calendar where you've carved it out that you're going to commit to it. So that's really a key to success for you, is time blocking. Everybody good on the iPad? Anybody that still needs to sign in? All right, good. One more? You don't need to. We already have you.
Michael, one more.
One more. We've got you as well. Yeah. DJ, you need to. And so, so that's real important, is time blocking. By the way, my tennis shoes. So I've got white tennis shoes on for the camera, especially because I've got an Achilles problem going on, and so I can't do the dress shoes for a while. So I've got to be on these orthopedic shoes and right tennis shoes. So sorry, hope it's okay for everybody. Now, when I look back at the history there, a couple things jump out at me. One is that when I was taking that commercial class with Dale, light bulbs were going off, and that because I was realizing, well, this is logical. This is not so emotional. See, I was kind of ready for that. I was kind of tired of the emotional side of the business. The residential business can be a little emotional sometimes, can't it? So I would take sellers' comps, say, well, here's what all the other homes are selling for in the area, and they would look at my comps and say, no, my house is worth $200,000 more than all those, right? I put in these fluorescent light bulbs, right? What does that mean? How do you get that, right? And so it can be so emotional sometimes. So that can be a reason why you like the class. It could be a reason why you don't like the class. Barbara knows my wife Angie, and some of you guys do as well. And Angie's taken my classes, and she doesn't like it. She can't stand the numbers, can't stand spreadsheets. So she's like, Michael, you can have that stuff, you know. So it could be a reason why you like commercial investment real estate. It could be a reason why you don't, because it is a lot more logical. It's either the deals make sense or they don't. It's a lot of numbers, financial. I like the fact that it's more business. It's more 9 to 5, not the weekends and evenings that are expected in residential real estate. You know, the buyers, working with the buyers is easier. I've never really liked working with buyers. I don't like putting them in my car, driving them around, them calling me, texting me, emailing. Where the commercial investment client, their properties are subject to interior inspection for the most part. So they know that they're going to go drive by them on their own and look at them, and then when they want to get more information or get inside, then they'll reach out to you. And so it's a little easier to work with them. You can have them take hoops, go through hoops, or take steps. Like let's meet in person is a hoop that you can have them go through. Or let's have them sign something, and we'll talk about those steps that we take with them this afternoon. And then it's a little easier to work with them. So those are all some reasons why you might consider commercial investment real estate. Of course, the big commissions that are out there, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the larger commissions that are out there, and I'll share some stories with you guys about that. All right, so now on page 6 is a glossary of terms. Page 6 is going to be something that we want to refer back to on a regular basis. It has most of the definitions and formulas in there that you need for calculating spreadsheets and doing some of the calculations that we do. So somebody might say, see where return on investment is, by the way? A lot of times this one's a little harder to find. ROI, cash on cash. A lot of times what will happen is somebody will say, hey, Michael, how did you say to calculate a return on investment again? And I won't always answer your question. I'll say sometimes, we'll go to page 6. Why do I do that instead of answering the question? Yeah, so you have to. So you learn how to get the answer, and so you're not dependent on people. And so that's why we do that. So don't think that I'm being rude. I just want you to kind of try to find a way to figure it out instead of always having the answer given to you. Now, would you agree that if an investor ran into you at an open house or called you on the phone, that they would know pretty quickly whether you knew what you were talking about or not? Yeah, so would it be helpful if we shared some of the language that investors use? Okay. How many of you would like me to share some language that investors use in the class? Okay, awesome. So what does it mean when we say upside potential? What does that mean? Chance to increase what? Okay, so chance to increase revenue, and if we can increase revenue, then we're talking about increasing rents, right? Or leases, increasing the income. So that's probably the most common way that we think about is increasing income, increasing the rents, increasing leases. So you have a property where the rents are low, there's no rent control, we're going to go in and raise the rents. So remember when we took our real estate license, one of the things that we actually use, unfortunately, is the different ways of determining value. You have your comparable approach, your cost approach, your income approach, and your capital asset approach. Okay, so that's something you want to remember. Your comparable approach, your cost approach, your income approach, and your capital asset approach are the 4 ways to determine value. Comparable approach, cost approach, income approach, capital asset approach. So the comparable approach we're all pretty familiar with. It's just we'll look at comps and compare other properties to the property that we're looking at. The cost approach is for a developer. So a developer will look at a vacant lot and they'll say, okay, I can build 25 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story homes, let's say for example, and they'll figure out how much it costs to build these 4-bedroom, 2-bath homes, and then they'll figure out how much they can sell them for, and they'll go through all the math and the formulas and everything, and the desired profit that they want from that project is essentially the value of the land, okay? So that's the cost approach. Just really quickly explain. The capital asset approach is for a risk of loss. So for a risk of loss. So if I buy a property for $3 million, there's going to be a money that's tied up there that I can't use to purchase another opportunity or use for anything else. So there's a risk of loss there that has to be calculated. Most of the time, you guys, we're going to use the income approach when we're talking about commercial investment properties. Pretty much all the time, we're going to be using the income approach. So if you can look at an asset and increase the income, you can increase the value because the value is determined by the income that it generates in commercial real estate. The value is determined by the income that it generates. The value is determined by the income? Right before that? So we're going to use the income approach most of the time when we're looking at the value of commercial investment real estate. So if we can increase the income, it will increase the value. Is that the part you're talking about? Because the value is determined by the income that it generates, okay? So anytime you get more income, you're going to get more value. Okay, so if you can raise rents and get more income, then you can get more value for the property. What would be some other ways of upside, other types of upside that you can think of?
Lower the expenses.
Lower the expenses. Tom. Are you Tom?
Actually, being a more efficient property manager.
Yeah, more efficient property manager. Is your name Tom?
No, Jorge.
Jorge. You look like Tom to me. I'm expecting Tom, and I figured that was you. But anyway, okay, Jorge. All right, that's good. So you could lower the expenses by getting a different manager. So, right? What's your name, sir? Matthew. So Matthew, are there really good operators like you, property managers, and then not so good property managers? Yeah, right? And so that can make a huge difference. Just lowering expenses, you guys, we could sit here and talk for an hour on the ways of lowering expenses. There's a lot of ways to do that. But that could be a huge deal. So you lower the expenses, now you have more income, net operating income, and now you have increased the value of the property. What other ways can you think of?
So by lowering the value, you become a slumlord, is that what you say?
No.
No. Take
No.
out the pool, the gym.
No. We didn't talk about lowering the value. We're talking about lowering the expenses.
I get it, but there's only so much you can take out. Like, your maintenance is fixed. You gotta, maintain.
Well, let me give you just a couple examples of lowering expenses. Which I don't want to go there yet with that one because we're going to talk about it here in a minute. But there's companies that will come through buildings like this and look at the lighting, look at the air conditioning, look at the heating, and they can conserve. Now, it's not a free thing, but there's lots of ways that they can come in here and start conserving energy, therefore decreasing expenses. And if we talked with the property managers, throw out one or two other ways real quick to decrease expenses. I'm going to go ahead and go there just because we're stuck. So what does it mean when I say master metered? What does that mean? It means there's only one meter, right?
I don't pay for that.
So if you look on page 11, you can see here that, actually I'm sorry, page 10, you can see how you have separate meters, 14 electric, 15 gas, and 3 water meters on page 10. Everybody see that okay? If this were 1, 1, and 1, this would mean that it's separately metered. So let's say, what's your first name, Miss? Cindy. Let's say that Cindy owns this property and it's master metered and we're all of her tenants. That means that all of our utilities are included in the rents. So we're getting all of our utilities at no charge. So what are we doing with the lights when we don't have to pay for electricity? Leaving them on. I don't care. I'm not paying for this. So there's all this waste. So Cindy's property, her expenses are as high as 50%. 50% of the income is going out because all these tenants are just wasting all their utilities, lights, gas, water, they don't care. So one of the things she can do is she can come in and put in separate meters, and now all of a sudden all our tenants, all of us are getting billed directly for electric and gas and water. And now what are we doing with the lights? Turn them on, turn those lights off. Oh my gosh, the electric bill is really high.
I didn't realize that was the case. I thought they were already mostly separated for each individual tenant.
No, I'm just giving you some ways. Yeah, there's just a couple ways. Again, if we sat here and talked about this, we could talk a while about it. But there's a lot of ways to decrease expenses. And so just keep that in mind. There's a lot of different ways to do that. What other ways can you think of when we talk about upside potential?
Updating the compound and charging more rent.
Yeah, so increasing rent. Yep. Is that what you said? What else you said?
No, I'm saying remodeling it.
Oh, remodel,
more,
sure.
More
Yeah.
attractive and
So
charging
just
more rent.
Yep. So just like a house or residential, you come in, remodel, fix it up.
Charging for parking.
Parking, yeah. So well, you're into other income. You could be into other income. So stay on decreasing it or finding or upside potential, but that could be upside potential as well. Yeah.
Excuse me, how costly is it to go from a master meter to?
It's costly. It's about $1,500 a unit. It could be $3,000. It could be more depending on the area and the property. May not be able to be done. It might be rent control. So all those things are taken into consideration, and certainly this type of product, the type of property that we're dealing with, and the age, how much work it needs. All of that comes into consideration.
Put in a laundry facility.
Put in a laundry facility could be. So there could be also just knocking down walls, knocking down studios, taking them to 1 bedrooms, making them 2 bedrooms, adding on could be upside potential in some cases. Changing the zoning from industrial or warehouse to residential or multifamily could be upside potential, right? Those could all be, I see this a lot, especially out when I start, I'll travel now, and so I'm going to real estate offices, and I see them doing in these industrial areas, where it's clearly industrial, they're allowing office use in these industrial areas, variances, things like that. How about the area could possibly change, causing massive upside potential? Look what's happening in Inglewood. It's going nuts up there. And so things like that, Apple, I just got back from Silicon Valley, and that whole area is just, oh my gosh, it's just going crazy. I just don't know how much bigger it can go. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It can keep growing like that. But it is going crazy because Apple is expanding their headquarters. So that could cause upside potential. All those kinds of things could cause upside potential. So the reason I like to talk about the different kinds of upside potential, how many of you have ever heard an investor say, oh, I'm looking for something with upside? You guys ever heard that before?
Yes.
They say it all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
So what would happen if you had all these different ways in your head or in a script to where you could fire back responses to them? So they say to you, oh, I'm looking for something with some upside potential. And you turn around and said, oh, that's great. Are you looking for something where you could remodel it, fix it up? Are you looking for something where you could raise the rents? Are you looking for something where you could decrease expenses? Are you looking for something where you could change the zoning? Are you looking for something where you can knock down walls and make them 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms? Are you looking for something where the area might change? What would happen if you just went boom, 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 boom when they said that to you? What would they think about you?
Guys on top of the game.
Yeah. This guy's on top of their game, their experience, know what they're doing. And so one of the things that I'm going to do with you throughout the day is suggest that you consider using language to help you demonstrate your skills and your knowledge level because it's very effective. Okay, now another term that that investors will use is the bedrooms and bathrooms. They'll use the splits. We'll call them the splits. So do you have a certain split requirement? All that means is the bedrooms and the bathrooms. Because some investors like to have 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. They don't like studios, for example, or 1 bedrooms in some cases, because it's like more like a hotel, like a motel, hotel, Holiday Inn to them. So splits would be that.
Excuse me, say the splits again?
The splits is just the bedrooms and bathrooms.
Oh.
That's all that is. Now, remember that also sometimes investors will use global indicators to look and see if it's something that they want to look closer at. So a cost per door on page 11 is a global indicator. If you take the price and you divide it by the number of units, it's just a price per unit, but an investor will call that cost per door.
Where do you see that?
So if you take the price, it's not in there, but if you take the price at the top, divide it by the number of units, 12, it's going to give you about 137,000 per unit. So 137 per unit is a price per unit, where an investor might say, you know, I'm looking for something around 137 a door. And that's all that means. I'm just looking for 137,000 per unit, okay? So that's a global indicator, though, because it doesn't really give you a real close idea of the value. So we do a lot of different things. Here's an example of this. We do a lot of different things. Now, we do a 60-minute training. We'll do 90-minute trainings. We'll do a 2-hour trainings where I met some of you folks. We'll do 1-day training events like this. We do 3-day training events where some of you guys have been. We do coaching, consulting for agents. We do coaching, consulting for offices, brokers that have multiple offices, license agreements. There's lots of things we're doing now. And we were doing this 3-day class, and one of my investors comes in the class, and I like him to come in the class every now and then and share for 30 minutes, 45 minutes how he spots deals, because it's all he does. He's just pure investor. So he was in the class, and he was talking about how he spotted this deal. And what happened was, let me ask you a question real quick. If you guys got a call on the break and it was for somebody who said, hey, I want to sell my $2 million shopping center, and you sold my mom's house, you did a great job, and we've got this listing we'd like to list, and we trust you, we'd like to list it with you, but can you help us with the $2 million shopping center? What would you guys say?
Yes.
Sure, yeah, no problem. I got that. Yeah, no problem, right? And then some of us might hang up the phone and go, oh my gosh, now what do I do? But most of you would say yes. Well, my experience with people who come to class is that you guys are usually high-minded, you're learning-based, you get help when you need it. This agent didn't go get help, and they clearly didn't know what they were doing. They took this listing, and what you want to do is add up all the income, monthly income, and multiply it times 12. And then use the annual income to determine the value, which I'll show you guys this today. And so what they did is they added it all up monthly, but they forgot to multiply it times 12. And then they put it in the MLS. Well, the MLS calculated the gross rent multiplier automatically. And so it was like 99 times gross or something like that. And so everyone's looking at this property going, well, 99 times gross, it's way overpriced. But the investor looks at it, and he looks at the cost per door, and so he says, well, cost per door, that's kind of low for that area. And so he starts looking closer and realizes, well, that's not the annual income, that's the monthly income, and that's not really 99, that's more like 9 times gross or whatever the number was, and the rents were low. So he spotted all of this based on cost per door. So sometimes they'll use global indicators like price per square foot would be another global indicator. They'll use these rough numbers to see if it's something that they want to look closer at. Okay, now one of the things that I did is I did a lot of different things, but one of the things I did to have success is I used my residential marketing experience toward the commercial investment real estate marketplace. The commercial investment agents don't market the same as residential agents from what I've seen. And I own commercial real estate, so I was getting these marketing pieces and I'm looking at it going, well, this is not really all that good. You guys, in most cases in the residential world, are really good at marketing. So you take your marketing experience, apply it towards commercial investment real estate, and you can do real well. The second thing I did was what's called a grid system. And the grid system I actually learned from my mentor Dale, who taught me this. And he taught me this grid system. I didn't realize at the time that it was a unique way of getting commercial investment listings, where now I understand that the agents out there aren't using that method pretty much. And so it's another reason why I had most of the success that I did. I'll share the grid system with you, just like an overview of it really at the end of the day, but we're not going to have much time to really get into it because we need more time to do that. The third thing I did was I'm always trying to be different and trying to find ways to look different and sound different and be different than all these other agents that are out there. So I was going to these commercial investment networking meetings. And these commercial investment networking meetings, you have residential agents in the room, and you have commercial agents in the room, and you have brokers in the room, real estate agents in the room, and they're all mingling in these events, and they're mixers. You guys have been to mixers before, right?
Right.
So you know how that goes. It's because, hi Cindy, the investor Cindy, I'm Michael, nice to meet you. And Cindy, here's my card. Call me if I can ever be of service to you, okay? Will you?
Oh, sure.
Sure you will, yeah, sure she will. Is she gonna call me? No, she's not gonna call me, right? So I'm looking like all the other agents in the room. So remember, I was time blocking. I only had 2 hours, so I was spending an hour here at this event, and I was leaving, and I'd go, well, no, nobody's calling me from these things. They're not gonna call me. How can I make this more effective? And so I started selling Cindy, the investor. So I'd start meeting these investors, and I immediately launch into selling. Oh, Cindy, you know what? I'm the #1 agent in my office. Top agent in my office. Top 1% of all agents in the United States, Cindy. Top 3 commercial agent in California and Hawaii. We sold over 100 transactions just last year alone. We sell a property every 4.5 days. Now, you see why that's not going to be real effective? Who does Cindy care about? Her. She cares about herself, right? So she doesn't care about me. She doesn't think, so she's thinking, okay, well, that's nice that you're so wonderful, dude, but, right? So that's not real effective. So what I realized is that's not real effective very quickly. And so then I started thinking, well, how can I make this more effective? And I said, oh, I know, I'll consult. Because when you're consulting, you're asking them questions, you're drawing them toward you. When you're selling, you're pushing them away. And so I started writing down questions that I could ask investors when I ran into them on the fly, and it became my elevator script now because I say it so much. So now I'm going to meet Cindy, and I'm going to exchange the pleasantries. Here's my card. I'm going to say, well, Cindy, that's great that you're looking for some investment property. Do you have a certain split requirement that you're looking for? And she's going to answer that question. And then I'm going to say, oh, that's great. So you're probably looking to purchase something with some upside potential, I bet, because most of the people I meet are looking to purchase something with some upside potential. And she's probably going to say, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am looking for something with some upside. Then I'm going to say, oh, that's awesome. So you're looking to do a value play versus something that's vanilla. And then she may or may not be able to answer that question. And I'm going to say, okay, wonderful. Are you looking to invest horizontally or are you looking to invest vertically? And then I'm just going to walk away and come over here and start mingling with other people. Now, what is Cindy thinking right now?